Sometimes we think long and hard about the cars we're going to test on Top Gear, and sometimes we have a Carrera GT and a Lexus LFA. Right, let's see if we can catch up with Jethro, shall we?
So yes, today it's all about celebrating V10 engines, but also we're on the cusp of a whole new era of hypercars, aren't we? Ridiculous power, hybrid, torque fill, so much tech. And we're wondering if these manufacturers have forgotten what makes a supercar really special in the first place. These two cars are the perfect reminder.
Oh, look at this. What an unbelievable pair of cars on an unbelievable road. It's got so many twists and turns in it. Down here alongside the River Danube in southern Germany with two of the all-time greats.
So yes, today is one of those perfect days, except for the frequent rain showers and police attention, but anyway, otherwise perfect. A tribute to all that's right and holy about normally aspirated V10 engines and supercars that place feel and purity above raw numbers.
Absolutely. In fact, the LFA's front-mounted 4.8-litre V10 has just 552 horsepower and a mere 354 pounds-foot of torque. Despite carbon fibre construction, it weighs 1,480 kilos. And of course, it has an old-school 6-speed automated manual gearbox. None of this was particularly impressive even when it was launched in 2009, when it cost £336,000. But as we'll see, the LFA doesn't really conform to the mundane rules of reality.
The Carrera GT had its own issues at launch way back in 2004, chiefly its snappy on-limit response. But nobody was arguing with the stunning full carbon fibre chassis, 5.7-litre V10 engine with 604 horsepower and exquisite 6-speed manual gearbox. While the Ferrari Enzo went sci-fi, the GT zeroed in on analogue perfection. Okay, the LFA, much misunderstood when it was new, because it took 10 years to develop, so it didn't feel very new, did it? And performance had actually moved on by the time this thing came out. But the longer we are from that launch date in 2010, the more special this car feels. The mechanical makeup is perfect. Screaming, normally aspirated engine. Even in these conditions, that allows me to use the performance, because there isn't some huge amount of torque corrupting the rear axle, so I can get stuck in and use 9,000 RPM. And it has this stunning balance. You turn, and it's like every minute bit of throttle that you put on, you unwind a corresponding amount of lock, because it's steering the car at the rear. It's a stunning feeling. The gearbox, the weak link of the car, but even that, I drove a CSL recently and the gearbox really annoyed me, but this one doesn't. It hasn't been that much of a hindrance. It's such a feast. It's so unique. It has this lovely, cohesive feel to everything. It's like they thought of everything with this car. It's just an unforgettable experience. And it proves that 552 horsepower is more than enough to create something just unforgettable and so exciting.
What a privilege to get a Carrera GT and a Lexus LFA out again. They are just sublime, and the noises they make. Oh, wow. V10s for the win every day of the week. The powertrain is a sensation. It's absolutely sensational. Just so much communication through the chassis. So much, all these sort of rose jointed suspension and this differential, you feel it gaining traction with such precision. But you're always thinking, it feels like it's the boss, not you. You've got to treat it with such care and circumspection. You do get a little tiny bit of roll, just enough to give you a bit of communication from the chassis and the suspension, but you've just got so much coming at you from everywhere in this car. Look at this. Oh, that's what you want. Oh, such an amazing engine. The Lexus is more musical, but oh my God. This is just a race engine. A race engine with a manual gearbox attached. It's so complete. As a driver satisfaction tool, I mean, just trying to think if it's been done better than this anywhere.
At this point we're fawning, but I think that's allowed in this instance. It's funny, in isolation all the technology applied to a new hypercar is spectacular and very difficult to fault. However, when you strip it away and leave the bare essentials, it's a bit like taking the blinkers off. So this is what really counts. In fact, these cars deliver on so many levels, including just looking at them.
Right, we couldn't get these cars together without having a good look around them and talking about how amazingly cool they are. So Jethro, LFA, please.
LFA is the king of Japanese cars. I love Japanese cars because they're so different, they go their own way, but they're so obsessive and meticulous as well. And the LFA takes everything to like, forget 13, to like 100. It's insane, this car.
Tell me about the gestation of this car, because I think it's incredible.
It's actually hilarious, and it was a standing joke for a long time when I started in the industry. The team for this car was formed in 2003 first prototype. They thought about so many different approaches with this car. It was going to be aluminium, then they decided it had to be carbon fibre. No one else's carbon fibre was good enough, so Toyota had to invest in a carbon fibre facility. So from 2000 to 2009, they were developing this car, and they started building it in 2010. And the development included racing at the Nürburgring, completely undisguised, in a race car version in 2007 and 2008, in front of the whole watching world. This car wasn't even going to come out for another couple of years.
I know, with the president driving under a pseudonym so he didn't get in trouble with the board of directors.
It's
just brilliant.
It's brilliant. And it was a bit of a joke at the time, but it's now part of the lore, isn't it, of this car?
Everyone's going to want to see under the bonnet of this.
Right. Okay.
You're going to have to hold it for a second because I've got to get the strut brace off. Carbon fibre strut brace for the carbon fibre bonnet.
So I would say the engine is it's the party piece, and it's why we've got these two together, isn't it? The V10, but there's so much other stuff too. But this is gorgeous. 4.8 litre V10, revs to 9,000 RPM, 552 horsepower, which even in 2010 wasn't that much. If you think the GTR had been out a couple of years already and people were tuning those up to 800 horsepower at that point. Yeah. So performance wasn't everything, but they talk so much about balance, about response, and this engine, developed by Yamaha in conjunction with Toyota, is literally a musical instrument.
I love that fact about the engine, that it revs from 0 to the red light in like 0.6 seconds and needed a digital needle because a mechanical one couldn't keep up. It's just brilliant nonsense.
Everything about this car is fantastic. And the engine, we're in this era where power and power and power and torque fill is everything. But all of the noise and the drama that you see in this tiny little jewel of an engine, which they said was the size of a V8, but the weight of a V6, and it's this V10. It's just all in this car. Okay, we need to put the engine away and look at the interior because we haven't got enough time to go through everything on this car. We could geek out for many days. But yeah, all carbon fibre construction. Weirdly, not that light, 1480 kilos, I think.
Yeah. More than 50% of the weight at the back of the car.
Yeah, because we've got the transaxle as well.
Transaxle at the back.
Okay, so inside, I don't really quite know where to begin. I guess
Nothing
maybe
else like it.
The titanium forged pedals, brake and accelerator.
The seats and seat controls, which are brilliant. They're so comfortable to sit in. They're really supportive, really good access to the controls. I've never seen them done again.
No, they're absolutely gorgeous. These tiny little slender stalks, everything feels so delicate, yet so precisely engineered. There's nothing fragile despite the delicacy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a gorgeous thing. It sort of marries motorsport and perfection somehow. Do you know what I mean? It's really gorgeous. The steering wheel, hollow carbon fibre, perfect size. It's flat bottomed, which some purists might not like.
We'll forgive it.
Yeah, we'll forgive it. I think the environment is just so cool. It's got a 6-speed automated manual gearbox. It gets criticised, and I get it. A lot of these early single clutch boxes were not that great. You can drive around it a little bit, but I guess if you must have a manual gearbox, you could always have a Carrera GT.
Should we go and have a look?
Oh God,
because it's just so cool, isn't it?
I love it. I love it.
Magnesium wheels, which is a good place to start on any car, isn't it? Centre locks.
Centre locks. Red
20 years
wheel
ago.
nut there, blue wheel nuts on this side.
Yeah.
Geeky little detail. When I had an M3, I wanted to do that on my M3 just because, I don't know, I thought it was cool because Carrera GT is the king of cool cars.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm gonna, without further ado, we need to get the engine bay open because I think it's epic in here. There's so much to talk about under the skin of this car.
I just want to look at it. It's just the thing, isn't it?
Because the first thing that you see isn't really the engine at all, but the carbon chassis, because it's one of those really rare cars which not only has a carbon tub, but carbon subframes at both ends as well. And you just look under this and think, wow, that looks so exotic.
It does. It looks really like cutting edge race car. And I remember being at the Pagani factory. Horacio Pagani has one of these and he was fawning over the chassis. He said it was just unbelievably perfect execution and an amazing idea. So it's good enough for me.
Inboard suspension, like ducts down for the brakes and stuff. But the engine, okay, the gestation of this engine is even longer than the LFA's because this engine started as a V10 Formula One engine, a 3.5 litre for the Footwork F1 team. It wasn't actually very good, even though Hans Metzger had done it. So it was sort of shelved mid-season. And a few years later, late 90s, 99, the Le Mans team redeveloped it as a 5.5 litre V10 for the LMP 900 class, which they never raced in. So a few years after that, the road car department came knocking and went, that 5.5 litre V10, we can do something with that. And they turned it into this 5.7.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. So failed F1 engine, never raced at Le Mans, but one of the greatest road car engines ever. 612 PS, 604 horsepower. Doesn't rev quite as high as the LFA.
8,700 revs, who's complaining?
But the character is so different. I talked a little bit about there being motorsport in the LFA. That has a flavour. This oozes motorsport from every pore, this car.
Exactly. So, I want to show you the rear wing as a closer. There's some very cool stuff inside. You've got the ash and birch gear change and the seats, which I don't really get on with because they're quite hunchy. Well, long journeys I didn't get on with them. And then as soon as you get on a good road, you love the support and stuff.
I can live with it.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, right, I've got to turn the ignition on and get this wing up because I think it's so cool.
It's just...
It's the way it goes up and thunks into place.
To a stop. As you can tell, we quite like these cars. You could geek out over them for many, many hours. And I think if you owned one, you'd just keep poring over it all the time, every couple of months. I'm going to try and just look at my car again for 6 hours. But instead of looking at them, we should probably go and drive them.
Drive them.
Yeah.
Your passenger side, so you're getting in there.
Oh, okay. That's less good. Being a passenger in a Carrera GT is less appealing somehow, but okay.
The clutch on this.
The clutch is
it's a challenge.
Yes. But the trick an owner told me was effectively no throttle. Just bring the clutch up to bind point, let it roll, and then apply throttle.
Yeah.
So if you're not in a hurry, i.e. a roundabout or a red light, that works beautifully, but it is more of a pain when you need to get going. So what was your take on it? What surprised you on? I mean, you must expect to be good, obviously. But
yeah, it's more motorsporty than I expected it to be. I've read about the engine being so responsive and so reactive and everything else, and it being a bit of a challenge. And when it's been wet out here, you don't want to boss it, it bosses you. It dictates the pace to you. But oh my God, it's just how shot through with texture and feel.
I think
the whole thing is.
That's for me the thing, and I've driven these loads of times, but there's still a bit of a shock when you get in. The level of communication, and this is on the new Cup 2 tyres. We've had all sorts of weather from dry to absolute biblical rain.
Yes, the weather, in case you hadn't guessed, it didn't exactly play ball, but it did give us the chance to experience the cars in mixed conditions. And whilst the Carrera GT demands absolute respect, it also flows and rewards like little else and feels sharp-edged but predictable.
And the noises, like the diff binding itself up, the brake, you get the really brushing of the ceramic brakes, and there's just this sort of, you're bombarded, but it's not noise. It's information and texture, and like you say, it just gives you everything you need to just extract from it. It's so cool.
And I think what distinguishes it just from so much modern stuff is that you end up not driving it massively fast. Because you're just looking for opportunities to use what you can from it, but also you just end up using different points of the rev range, because you go, oh, such an interesting, what does it feel like at 3,000 in fourth? What does it feel like at 6,000 in second? It's just...
I love it. It's a grown-up's car.
It's so good, isn't it?
It really is. The speed with which you have to work is incredible. You have to up your game to such an extent, particularly on the rev match. You basically have to, it's not so much a blip as a hang, because if you blip, there's no way you can change gear quick enough. So you've got to put in this exaggerated hang to get the gear, but even then, you're moving your hand and arm as fast as you can to get it to work. It's full immersion, full excitement. It's unique, and it feels proper hardcore.
It does, doesn't it?
If it was called the Carrera GTRS, you'd actually go, yeah, that sounds about right. It's got that vibe to it. There's no artifice in the car. That's what I like. There's not like some super jumpy steering rack, or everything is honed to this beautiful level by people who understand what response should be.
And who haven't been told that it's got to be a luxury car as well, and it's got to have all this kit on it, and it's got to be, you know, have all the safety stuff and everything. It's just a driver's car.
Bad things?
I haven't got much really. The clutch, the seat I found narrow, but actually when you're driving it properly, it's nice to have a narrow seat that you don't slosh around.
I agree. Actually. Yeah, no, I like that. My criticisms are few to zero, basically. There are things you could do, speed up the steering a little bit, for example, but whilst they'd change the experience, I don't think they'd actually enhance it. The GT is raw and connected, unbelievably precise, and has an animalistic side too. It ticks every single box. Even the LFA can't quite deliver at this level.
But before we start really digging into the Japanese wonder, let me give you a guided tour of the Porsche's cabin. What a cabin this is! But let's talk you through it, okay? So you've got window buttons and aircon controls down here, which are really nicely done. Manual gearbox, that's the most important thing. The wooden gearbox is ash and birch, I think, and it's a riff on the old balsa wood gear change that they used to have in the Porsche 917 Le Mans cars. Above it, you've got a row of 3 buttons, okay? The lock button, don't need to worry about that. The wing button, that's a good one. The traction control button, don't touch that. That's a warning. Then up here, amazingly, you've got a radio and a CD player all tucked into this little tiny bit with an on-off button. So then you get to stuff that's more recognisably Porsche, and a lot of this was taken from the 996 generation. The mirror controls here, the column stalks, the steering wheel, I'm not sure it's identical to a 996. It's a little bit more sort of shaped, I think, but it's basically like a 996, as is the key here. So there you go. It's basically a fairly traditional Porsche cabin in terms of some of the switchgear and stuff. And then you look down into the footwell and you've got these amazing pedals down here, which are so lovely to operate. It's absolute bliss, unless it's wet outside when they get quite slippery. Apart from that though, just what a thing to be in. Carbon lift out panels and all the ambience of this. Proper motorsport thing.
But the Lexus has a lot going for it too. Okay, so you're lucky enough to find yourself in an LFA with a key. Remember those? Put it in the ignition, turn it on, thing starts to come to life. Seats puts me back in my position. To start the engine, I'm not going to do it, much as I'd like to, but little engine start button on the steering wheel. Gorgeous little steering wheel, flat bottomed, but not too fat, feels just about perfect. The pedals are slightly offset, slightly pushed out to the edge of the car, but just a few degrees, the brake pedal across from the center point of the steering wheel. Then we come into drive modes. Now there is wet mode. It's been very wet. We haven't really been using it. There's normal and sport, but you just want to go into sport. It smooths out the gear changes as much as possible. So you do that up here. Flick it up to sport mode. You get your big white rev counter that reads to 9. And then there's also another tweak you can do on the gearbox. There's a little button here and it will tweak the gearbox speed. So it starts about 2 down from the fastest speed and then you just flick it up to the full noise if you want it. And then you come to the center console, which is, I guess it's dated, but the one thing that really is dated is the screen, which is hilarious. I've got a little cursor thing. Any Lexus owner from this sort of era will remember this ridiculous system. So I move through the menus here and then it moves to the next thing. It is truly, truly terrible. The only thing that I will say is terrible about the LFA. What else do you need to know? Oh, there's a traction control button here, on and off. Simple as that. Put it in sport, press the traction control button, you're on your own. Sounds scary because these things are so valuable now, but it's actually not that scary. What else do you need to know? Yeah, I've got these weird padded seat belts. The center ring on the TFT screen moves, which is a really cool little touch. This car's full of those cool touches. Everything about it just feels so bespoke, so money no object. This one has got some wear to it. It's done 9,000 miles, people jumping in and out for photo shoots, but it just feels really, really special. The only thing that's slightly weird, the active rear wing, we've been trying to put it up and down for photos all day. It comes up at, I think, 55 miles an hour and then goes down again below 28. But if you move this seat forward, there's a button where you can put the wing up. I don't know how you'd ever do that on the move, but there you go, you can do it. But that's a little tour of LFA. It's truly weird and truly wonderful.
And best enjoyed in motion, preferably at 9,000 RPM. This engine, you can tell that it's not motorsport in the same way that the Carrera GT is, but I think it comes from the same passion and knowledge and everything, because it's just so keen.
Yeah, and it's pure music, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can tell. It's weird because it's contrived but doesn't come across contrived. It's just such an amazing noise.
Yeah.
Same fantastic throttle response.
They just went, we've got one opportunity, boys, to do one amazing engine.
Well, listen,
that's it.
I mean, it revs to 9. This is less than 4,000 RPM. That's 4,000 RPM. There's 5 to go. And I know the gearbox isn't perfect, but let's do it. Second gear. It's pretty good, isn't it?
It's more than that. It's so good.
I can't think of many. I think the 430 Scuderia has the best single clutch manual ever. That's the only other good one I can think of. The rest of them sort of suck, but this, I haven't found it getting in the way that much.
No, neither have I. And again, I think when you drive a sort of car that's a generation or two old now, you forgive them for that. You sort of go, oh, it's a timepiece, isn't it? This was of its moment, cutting edge, and it's still like 0.2 second gear shift, and I love it. It looks like a GT car from the outside, the proportions, front engined and all the rest of it. Then you start looking at it in more detail and going, hang on, why are there big air intakes on the back? And you go, oh no, hang on, they've been very clever with how they've designed and laid this out. And you look around it more and it looks less and less like a front engine GT and more like something very bespoke. And you know they'll have thought about every single detail on this and then spent years and years going, we'll make that better. Oh, we'll make that better. 10 years.
10 years. So compared to a modern turbocharged car, it is obviously quite torque light, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you do notice it. It takes a little bit longer to sort of climb into its power band a bit.
But it does give you traction.
It does.
and it's pretty wet, and it allows you to get stuck into the car in a way you would not do in the Carrera GT, for example.
Yeah, you very quickly have a lot of confidence in it.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that. I thought it was going to feel less communicative than it is.
It's lovely. And
It
it's
is.
smaller than a new M2. I looked up the
This
dimensions.
is it. Yeah, the size of these cars on the road, they're not big.
Yeah. And it's,
Great.
I don't know.
Smaller than an M2.
I know. How ridiculous is that?
I reckon as an achievement, this car is just unparalleled because everyone else had experience of doing sports cars. Porsche had enormous experience of doing sports cars before the Carrera GT. Lexus didn't really. They just sort of went into this a bit blind and then created a masterpiece.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I really like it. There's, again, a bit like the Carrera GT, there's not much I'd change dynamically. Fixed rate suspension.
Yep.
Rides well, but never floats. I hate it when a car like floats under
Yeah.
bumps. Never hits the bump stops. It just feels impervious to what the road's throwing at it.
Yeah.
And I think that level of composure, combined with the fact you can attack the engine, and the gearbox is a bit manic as well,
Yeah.
it creates this sense that you can just push the thing absolutely to the limit. You end up thinking, I keep thinking, I want to take one of these to the Nürburgring. Like,
Yeah.
I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, it hits a duality, this car, in a way I don't think anything else does, where you could just go and purr about in it and just be quite calm and considered with it, or go absolutely ballistic.
Yeah. So that's the Porsche Carrera GT and the Lexus LFA. We were hampered by weather and the perfect road was elusive, yet both cars still managed to shine. In some ways they're wildly different, but they share a rare depth of ability and a sense that they are impeccably engineered. Sadly, we will never see their like again.
And that's tragic. There are faster cars and their performance will continue to be overshadowed. But numbers are meaningless. Experience is everything. And Carrera GT and LFA deliver in ways that few cars even care to understand. They are icons and deserve to be celebrated and, more than anything, driven. What good a V10 if you never turn the key and let it rip?